named Sue and Johnsy. They shared a small apartment, which they called a flat. This flat was on the third floor of an old house. One day in November, Johnsy became very, very ill. She had a serious sickness called pneumonia, which is a lung infection. Johnsy would just lie in her bed without moving, looking out of the window. Sue, who was her friend, became very worried about Johnsy. She quickly called for the doctor. Even though the doctor came to see Johnsy every day, Johnsy's condition did not change. She didn't get any better. One day, the doctor took Sue aside, away from Johnsy, and asked her, "Is anything worrying Johnsy?" Sue replied, "No," but then asked the doctor, "But why do you ask?" The doctor then explained that it seemed Johnsy had decided in her own mind that she was not going to get well. He told Sue that if Johnsy didn't want to live, then medicines would not be able to help her. Sue tried her very best to make Johnsy interested in the things around her again. She talked about clothes and different fashions, but Johnsy did not respond at all. Johnsy just continued to lie still on her bed. To try and take Johnsy's mind off her illness, Sue brought her drawing board into Johnsy's room and started painting. While she was working, she even whistled. Suddenly, Sue heard Johnsy whisper something very quietly. Sue quickly rushed to the bed. She heard Johnsy counting backwards. Johnsy was looking out of the window and saying, 12. After a short time, she whispered 11, then 10, then 9, 8, and 7. Sue anxiously looked out of the window. She saw an old ivy creeper, which is a plant that climbing halfway up the brick wall directly opposite their window. Outside, there was a strong wind blowing, and the creeper was shedding its leaves. Sue asked Johnsy, "What is it, dear?" Johnsy whispered, 6. She explained that the leaves were falling faster now. Johnsy said that 3 days ago there were almost 100 leaves, but now there were only 5 left. Sue told her, "It is autumn," and explained that the leaves will fall. Then Johnsy said with a strong and definite tone, "When the last leaf falls, I will die." She added, "I have known this for the last 3 days." Sue replied, "Oh, that's nonsense." She asked, "What have old ivy leaves to do with your getting well?" Sue reminded Johnsy that the doctor is confident that you will get better. Johnsy did not say anything more. Sue went and brought her a bowl of soup. Johnsy said, "I don't want any soup. I am not hungry." She then added, "Now there are only 4 leaves left. I want to see the last one fall before it gets dark. Then I will sleep forever." This meant she believed she would die when the last leaf fell. Sue sat on Johnsy's bed, kissed her, and told her, "You are not going to die." Sue explained, "I can't draw the curtain, for I need the light." She wanted to finish her painting and get some money for us. Sue begged Johnsy, "Please, my dear friend," and asked her to promise not to look out of the window while I paint. Johnsy said, "All right." She told Sue to finish her painting soon because she wanted to see the last leaf fall. Johnsy added, "I'm tired of waiting. I have to die, so let me go away peacefully, like one of those poor tired leaves." Sue told Johnsy to try to sleep. She mentioned that she had to paint an old miner. Sue said, "I will call Behrman up to be my model." A model is a person who poses for an artist to draw or paint. Sue then rushed downstairs to Behrman's room. Behrman lived on the ground floor. He was a painter who was 60 years old. His whole life he had dreamed of painting a masterpiece, which is a very great work of art, but it had only remained a dream. Sue poured out all her worries to Behrman, telling him everything. She explained to him how Johnsy was convinced that she would die when the last leaf fell. "Is she stupid?" asked Behrman. "How can she be so foolish?" Sue complained that Johnsy was running a high temperature and refuses to eat or drink, and that worries me a lot. Behrman then said, "I will come with you and see Johnsy." They walked very quietly on their tiptoes into Johnsy's room. Johnsy was sleeping. Sue gently closed the curtains together to cover the window. Then they went to the next room. Sue peeked out through the window. She saw that there was only 1 leaf left on the creeper. It was raining very hard, and an icy cold wind was blowing. It looked like the leaf would fall at any minute now. Behrman did not say a word. He went back to his room. Johnsy woke up the next morning. In a weak voice, she asked Sue to draw the curtains, open them. Sue was nervous about doing it. She pulled back the curtains very reluctantly, meaning she did it unwillingly. "Oh!" Sue exclaimed, meaning she cried out in surprise and happiness as she looked at the vine creeper. She said, "Look, there is still one leaf on the creeper." Sue continued, "It looks quite green and healthy. In spite of the storm and the fierce winds, it didn't fall." Johnsy said she heard the wind last night. She thought the leaf would have fallen. She still believed, "It will surely fall today, then I'll die." Sue said very energetically and strongly, "You won't die." She told Johnsy, "You have to live for your friends." Sue asked Johnsy, "What would happen to me if you die?" Johnsy smiled weakly and closed her eyes. After every hour or so, she would look out of the window, and the leaf was still there. It seemed to be clinging to the creeper, meaning it was stuck tightly. In the evening, there was another storm, but the leaf still did not fall. Johnsy lay for a long time, just looking at the leaf. Then she called out to Sue. Johnsy said, "I have been a bad girl." She admitted, "You have looked after me so lovingly, and I have not cooperated with you." She confessed, "I have been depressed and gloomy." Johnsy then realized, "The last leaf has shown me how wicked I have been." She finally understood. "I have realized that it is a sin to want to die." Sue hugged Johnsy closely. Then she gave Johnsy a lot of hot soup and a mirror. Johnsy combed her hair and smiled brightly. In the afternoon, the doctor came. After examining Johnsy, his patient, he told Sue, "Johnsy now has the will to live." The will to live is a very strong desire to stay alive. He was confident that she would recover soon. The doctor then said, "Now I must go downstairs and see Behrman. He is also suffering from pneumonia." But, the doctor added, "I am afraid there is no hope for him." The next morning, Sue came and sat on Johnsy's bed. Taking Johnsy's hand in hers, she said, "I have something to tell you." Sue told her, "Mr. Behrman died of pneumonia this morning." She explained that he was ill for only 2 days. The first day, the janitor found him on his bed. A janitor is a person whose job is to look after a building. His clothes and shoes were wet, and he was shivering. Sue said he had been out in that stormy night. Then they found a ladder and a lantern that was still lighted lying near his bed. There were also some paintbrushes and green and yellow paints on the floor near the ladder. "Johnsy, dear," said Sue, "look out of the window. Look at that ivy leaf." She asked, "Haven't you wondered why it doesn't flutter, shake when the wind blows?" Sue then revealed the truth. That's Behrman's masterpiece. He painted it the night the last leaf fell. The story The Last Leaf was written by O. Henry. The lesson you can learn from this story is that hope and a strong desire to live are very important for getting better when you are sick. It also shows how a selfless act of sacrifice and a beautiful piece of art from one person can save another person's life. Help us by like, share, and subscribe. Share to your friends to get more such content.